Hey folks, welcome to another edition of the Maine Storytime. I'm Mike. I'm going to help you with, talk to you about new things going on in this weird culture today. And I am looking for my great pen, which I can't find because it's 4:20, so I was sometime, but not here, not now, and that's okay. So we'll get to it. And we're going to win, because that's what we do. We win every day. Every day you try to win. It's an R.E.M. song. So, without further ado, we haven't had an event since the 26th of July. A lot of news has happened since then. We're going to try and make sense of that. Since then, there have been two vice presidential candidates nominated. J.D. Vance is the Republican nominee, and from Ohio for the Republicans, and the vice presidential Democratic nominee is going to be Tim Walz, who is the governor of Minnesota. J.D. Vance is currently the senator from Ohio. Also, there's Mr. Walz has a long history and career as a progressive Democrat who's ran for governor, who also served in Congress, who's also been a military veteran who has a child with a disability, a 17-year-old named Gus. He has nonverbal learning disorder. He's nonverbal. He does drive. He does have ADHD. He also has an anxiety disorder. Mr. Walz is incredibly good about disability rights issues. He's signed several laws into effect. He is awesome in every way. The more you read about him, the more awesome he gets. And him and Camilla's rallies are definitely getting huge numbers. So that's a huge benefit, because if Camilla and Tim Walz wins, that means we have a person with disability back in the White House. Gus would be in the White House. And that has happened probably since FDR, but never on the scale of having a cop with a disability openly in a scale like that would be just awesome beyond words in every way. So, in other news, and I'll get back to that because it does have this election has huge significance as to whether we live in a democracy or we live in some sort of totalitarian state after what happened the last time Donald Trump was the president. And he lied to people about COVID. Bob Woodward was very helpful with that lie. Bob Woodward to be brought up on crimes against humanity for doing what he did, but oh well. I mean, journalism, history will judge Bob Woodward for his lack of action on COVID. And speaking of COVID, we're going to be talking about COVID because COVID's been an issue. And COVID is continuing to be an issue everywhere. COVID is causing massive issues with the Olympics. Noah Riley, I believe, was the runner who has asthma, contracted COVID during the Olympics, ran and fell and I mean, it's scary that it's been 4 years. There was more cases of COVID in 2024 than it probably was in 2021. The variants of COVID that are now going around are far more easily more easily transmittable than the ones that happened before. They have an extra spike that the variants didn't have 2 or 3 years ago. I have friends who have not been doing any travel whatsoever, and they went out once to see a movie and they got COVID. And it was a pretty significant version of COVID, and it wasn't fun. And again, I implore you, if you're immunocompromised in any way, buy them N95 masks. They're 50 for like $16 to $17 on Amazon, and I highly recommend it, because if you're in a situation where you could die from COVID like me, you don't want to die from COVID. I mean, I just don't want to die from COVID. It's the last thing I want to do. You know, so I wear a mask whenever I'm indoors and whenever I'm going to be in a outdoor setting that is gonna have a lot of people. I'm gonna mask. It's that simple. And the Olympics closed on Sunday, and the 28 Olympics, the Summer Games, going to be in LA for the first time in 44 years, because they were in LA in 84. But the Paralympics start 2 weeks from tomorrow in Paris, and the Paralympics are basically disability rights bonanza. 28 years ago, I went to the Paralympics in Atlanta, and it was a life-changing event. I got to see I have front row seats to the opening ceremonies, which don't know how it happened. Literally, I got through Ticketmaster, $50 back then. It was a lot of money, and Mom paid for them. I got tickets so I got to see Liza Minnelli from the front row. God waved at me. I got to play ball with Christopher Reeve's son. I would say hi to Dana Reeve. Got to wave at Christopher Reeve. He kind of smiled at me. And I had like 4 days of incredible time in Atlanta. I've been there a couple times since, but never as awesome as it was there. And Paris is going to be amazing. I mean, if you can watch it, in America, Peacock is broadcasting it at $6 a month to watch. But it's worth the $6. You get access to all the stuff NBC does. Otherwise, you can always use a VPN and go to cbc.ca. In certain parts of Maine, you'll be able to watch it over the air, because you do receive CBC up north. The one thing I have to worry about, though, is because I had a friend who passed away at a National Club Rugby tournament, is that, is Paris going to be ready for the amount of sickness or disability issues that might arise if people with disabilities come into, some issues with COVID, or like with my other friend, he had some weird infection that killed him while the Nationals were going on in Las Vegas, the Quad Rugby Nationals. You would think that Nationals, if you're going to host something at a national level, you're going to have medical facilities that can handle it. And maybe, there's probably some saltiness in someone dying, and, people die and you can't really predict when fate happens, but, you wonder about whether the hospital and stuff, I mean, given what people are going through the Olympics with, some of the best athletes in the world who's supposedly the healthiest going through COVID, I mean, yes, Paralympians are also extremely healthy, but they're disabled. They have pre-existing conditions, and they are, no matter what you call it, immunocompromised. You would think that would be reasonable to stop somebody from having to um, at least, really go through and have COVID protocols like they did in 2021. They should have never stopped. Like, now, I mean, just the amount of people I know who've gotten COVID this summer is just ridiculous. And people aren't taking it seriously. It's like it almost doesn't exist, and it's scary. It's scary for me because I could die if I get COVID. It's scary, and we started these things because of COVID. We're still doing them because literally, like, I don't feel safe going to concerts anymore. I feel, I'm going to try and go to something at the Balloon Festival this weekend. But I'm going to wear a mask because it's going to be outdoors, it's going to be hot out, there's going to be a lot of people. I'm going to wear a mask. I know I am. It's just because it doesn't make sense not to. And honestly, like, COVID is so dangerous right now that neurologists have said they don't even know what long COVID does to the brain. And there have been so few studies on people with, chronic long-term disabilities. The only one I know of with CP was done on death certificates back in 2020, so I'm not really sure even cerebral palsy COVID effects. I'd love to do it if I wasn't, spending time doing so much other stuff, trying to research other stuff going on. And there's a lot of good stuff going on. I mean, we had the Balloon Festival going on in Lewiston, which is, it wasn't going to happen, and luckily, money from the state and from local governments really helped people from Lewiston are able to celebrate the Balloon Festival this upcoming weekend after the horrendous mass shooting of October 25th of last year. And for someone who's lived here most of my life, who's been here since the beginning of the festival, I kind of say that it's really comfortable that I feel comforted that the festival's going on. It's really great in a way. It's beyond great to say the least. Joy Jennings is going to be performing. The Rock of Beacons are going to be performing. There's going to be balloon launches. It's pretty safe for me to watch a balloon launch from wherever you are and see them, and they go all over the Twin Cities. You can come up land, put a sheet down and have them land in your yard. They have bottles of champagne. They may be rides, but they're several $100. I'm not sure if they're accessible or not. And they're probably already sold out. That's the first thing that always sells out. And speaking of that, the mass shooting, a gazillion new laws went into effect this year. The largest, most well-known law is the three-day waiting period for gun purchases, which is going to cause problems because it's going to be tested in court. This is because of the mass shooting that happened in October. In other laws, you can now be you can have your body composted, but you have to have it heated up to a certain degree, and there's a whole procedure for it. But that sounds kind of at least interesting to read about. And there were some other ones, just nothing I really remember from the top of my head, unfortunately. I should see if we have any of that on. I might. Hold on. Yeah, so it's going to be a 72-hour waiting period on firearms purchases. Um, there's also no more unauthorized paramilitary activity allowed because there was a neo-Nazi who bought a property land, which is basically a piece of land with a trailer on it, and he was going to try and be start a paramilitary Nazi boot camp, but he ended up moving out of state, so that's good. That's very good. The other big thing is that you can't really wakeboard on coastal lake shorelines, and there's going to be abortion. Also important is that there's going to be protections for abortion providers and people who come to Maine for gender care issues. So that would be really, really, really good, because I know that given all the issues in other states, it's absurd that people have to deal with that to be the people they want. I mean, gender identity should be an equal right. I mean, it's just the fact that it's not, it's that kind of ridiculous and kind of absurd and kind of like defeats the purpose of what, being what you are. I mean, people have been trans for thousands of years. The fact that, last week there was a huge trans panic because two cisgender women, one woman who looked to be a little more, have a little more testosterone than the other, be a woman, and all this trans panic happened, and heaven forbid one of the women was banned from an earlier fight because of the her testosterone levels, but had she been trans, she would have been murdered in her country because it's a Muslim country and transgender people don't exist there, and like the person was cis, right? It was non-trans. It was a whole case of like trans panic, and like it was all over my internet page. And it was my Facebook page especially. And it's sad because I try to avoid like homophobic people because I'm queer, I'm out, and I should be able to be who I am without having swords brought to my attention every day. But like to have trans panic and to have that happen in mainstream society when these people don't watch female like boxing except for once every 4 years, they get mad because they see Box TV put something about it, so they make some generalization and make some huge deal that they don't have to do, and they think that they know it all. They don't, and it's so just ridiculous that in 2024, when we're dealing with COVID, we're dealing with so many issues to just try and get through the day. The economy, inflation, everything. We have people worried about gender roles and gender care, and I mean, really, like, yeah, it is weird. I mean, Tim Waltz is correct. It is weird. I mean, if it was a disability, like, if my gender was my bladder, would you care about it? I mean, really, I just don't understand it. I don't understand how people can think that because, oh my God, you don't want to be you're a sender, that's a bad thing. And, I mean, I never thought I'd live in a world without Roe versus Wade, and to see Maine being a safety state is actually a good thing. And, I mean, Maine's already a cannabis refugee state. We have the easiest, some of the easiest and best laws for cannabis consumption for children and adults in the U.S., if not the world. And I'm happy to say I'm one of those people. I helped those laws. We really wrote some of the very first laws that did that stuff. The laws that ASA gave me the best of this U.S. back in decades or so ago. And we've always stayed right there. And it's hard because as the cannabis industry has matured, there have been problems, and there's still a problem. I mean, right now we're going through contraction. There's a lot of caregivers going out of business, a lot of contraction. Stores are going out of business. Stores are going into less storefronts and just providing because it's just really becoming so oversaturated. Plus, you've got outdoor growers right now, which are going to be flooding the market with more THC in the coming months. I don't even know what the scope of THC or hemp-derived cannabinoids, stuff like Delta-9 and THCA is in Maine. I haven't seen it that much. I haven't really looked at it. Well, it's widespread in other states. In Texas, it's like what? You can buy Delta-8 like you buy Maine, you buy weed in Maine. I kind of laugh when they say Texas has marijuana may be illegal, but Texas has a constitutional limit for CBD. After that passed, the farm bill went through, which allowed CBD to be used as something that is a lot like it was synthesized in 2006. It's a process that changes CBD to tetracannabinol Delta-8 instead of Delta-9, and Delta-8 doesn't show up on the test, Delta-9 does, and Delta-10 exists, but you have to use a base for it. It's dangerous, and there's chemicals get added to it. In Colorado, there's a huge lawsuit between two mega industrial cannabis giants. Number one that's using hemp-derived cannabinoids. And some of those cannabinoids, just because they're safe cannabinoids, doesn't mean they're safe. It just means they look like the cannabinoid. They look like the cannabis molecule. Spice, which was like 10 or 12 years ago, looked like the chemical molecule. It was actually a JWH series, JWH 014, to be for the chemistry out there. But it caused seizures and stuff like that. And even with Delta-8, yes, it does show up in marijuana, but in such low doses that, like, I don't know that I want to try it myself. I haven't tried it yet, that I'm aware of. I've heard it's a lot lower dosage, but again, it's just one of those things where, people are using it because it's what gets them by, and it works. Now, I guess it's helpful. If it's helpful, it's great. But before I go, I want to follow up with another thing. The Autism Cares Act of this year would reauthorize the federal government to do this what they've been doing for the last 5 years, which was basically um, give $2 $2 billion with a B dollars to the um, National Institutes of Health to work on prevention, early intervention, training for education, inclusive education, and this one actually has further stuff on autism and aging in place, which is important so people can stay in the community and not in self or segregated spaces because A, they cost more money, B, they're not, the community is the best place for everyone, and everyone needs everyone, including people with autism, including people with severe autism, including people with severe disabilities of any kind. And not all severe disabilities are easily seen as severe or easily known as severe. And sometimes, the invisible disabilities that are severe are really hard too. I mean, epilepsy is scary. Incontinence is largely invisible. It can be really dangerous. And if not dangerous, certainly embarrassing and annoying. Diabetes can be scary. Heart disease can be, scary. All those things are scary. And so, with that being said, the CARES Act really should pass. And the one thing I don't like about it, and to be honest, it's being promoted by the Autism Speaks nonprofit, and they do horrible things. They're absolutely a horrible nonprofit. But with what this bill does, it's actually really good, and it provides a lot of support from people with autism. I understand why I understand why people would be issues with some of the stuff about trying to find cures and stuff. I don't think autism needs to be cured. I think it needs to be respected like everything else does. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of heads up on things that are going on that I thought would be helpful for people locally. There is a training at Disability Rights Center that my friend is actually doing. So I'm trying to get to it. Please give me one moment. I'm trying to find out information on person-centered planning, which I can't somehow find when I need to, of course, because, right, I'm getting there, really in there, I'm really trying hard. 1 second, please. I'm trying so hard. My friend has too much stuff on his page and he's doing stuff. Shoot. Okay, there's this is where he writes, Maine's 21st annual celebration will be on October 13th, 2024 at the Hilton Garden in Newport. They're wonderful events. You should go. It's expensive, but it's not what I was looking for. Shoot. And of course, and I'm not getting anywhere with this, sorry. So let's go to my Gmail, my stars, and I do have, there is going to be a, so if you need healthcare coverage, Consumers for Affordable Healthcare has some great information. You get their information at 800-955-7476. They're extremely helpful when it comes to asking any health questions. They help a lot with affordable healthcare, consumer assistance news, Medicare members, and you can apply for Medicare at any time at mymainconnection.gov. And if you need help with the marketplace, you can call that number I just called and they'll help you out. And the marketplace does help with mental health services and behavioral health services in Maine, marketplace coverage. And people with marketplace coverage can access their first behavioral health visit for free. The second and first visits may have co-pays. This is also the case with primary care visits. In some cases, costs associated with visits can go toward your deductible. And then if you need any more information, there's more information about that. Consumers for Affordable Healthcare also has a lot of information about estate recovery, which is a horrible program, which unfortunately, if you're disabled, you need to know about, especially in pain care, because it can effectively take away a family's house if they don't have heirs, they're under 21 and disabled, or a bunch of other weird exceptions, and you can get them to waive it. But if you use in-house care or in-home services or nursing home services, and you're above the age of 55, you become in the position to possibly have your house taken through estate recovery. Honestly, Consumers for Affordable Healthcare is the most complete resource I've seen so far in Maine on that. I've had to deal with it 15 years ago. It's probably changed since then. It changes often. Unfortunately, if you make these things and they happen, you really can't change what happens, but it's what happens. We'll be gone till probably middle of next week at the earliest, because just of things going on. Again, this weekend has the Balloon Festival in Lewiston. The Indigo Girls are playing in Sydney. If you're going, that's great. It's going to be really swamped. Melissa Eckert is playing as well. Doing shows in Boston. Really, really wish I could go. Just unfortunately, my health and my situation just doesn't allow me to, which is fine because I've seen the Indigo Girls and Melissa Eckert more times than can basically justified right now. And there'll always be other times to see both of them, I hope. And with that, I think, well, we're getting very close to the end of another Billy Maine. I'm trying to think of anything I can say that would be helpful or exciting or amazing. I'm trying to think of, and I'm out of it right now. I hope you have a great week, and we'll be back at least probably sometime later next week. I appreciate you watching this, and if you only watch part of it, that's great too. But I really want people to know that I do appreciate people watching this, and have a great day. Be well, and do good stuff. Be life. Enjoy life. And see you next time.